Hello.
Hi, Laura.
You can let people in, right, John?
Yep.
Okay, I have to make a pit stop real quick. I'll be right back.
Hi, Milt.
Hello, John.
How are you?
Hello, John.
Yeah.
How's it going?
All right, turn the volume up.
Oh, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
A little louder.
Nice out there, isn't it?
Yep. You can fired up the barbecue this afternoon.
We have a new barbecue.
Excuse me.
We've tried it a couple of times.
Did, you, did they finish your railing?
No, they forgot about it. I called today.
Oh, my.
And the guy that is supposed to order the glass for the barriers, he said, well, if I got it, I lost it, the measurements. So he's gonna have to come out tomorrow and measure. He said he can get it done within a week at that point. But it's, what they did do is very nice, so.
Hello.
Dan,
Hi.
Yeah.
I'd still recommend them.
you're Judy, right?
Yes, Judith Jones.
Judy.
Yep,
Judith, you go by Judith though.
I am Judith. Yes.
Okay, all right, Judith. Thanks for
Thank you.
coming, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We were on a Zoom conference last night with the Howell Library. And on the bottom of the Zoom screen, they had a button called closed caption.
Oh,
And the entire presentation was also through voice recognition,
oh, wow.
played all the words.
Huh,
It was really remarkable.
that's really cool.
Mm.
Was it Zoom or some other platform?
It was Zoom, right, Lois? Yeah.
Wow, maybe there's some way we can,
That was kind of cool.
yeah.
Yes. Oops.
Well, I was at court today and we were doing Zoom. We did a Zoom well, we had a preliminary exam scheduled, but it's just, it's, you know, the defendant didn't have a screen, so he called in, but the victim couldn't identify him over the phone.
Oh,
So anyway, we had to reschedule it. It was,
Wow. Mm.
yeah, just, you know, the technology, it is good, but
it's
it's just gonna
good.
take a while for everybody to get, you know, used to it.
Yes.
Right.
I was watching that one and the guy says, look, I am here. This is me. I'm telling you, this is me. Sort of like the, you know, I am not a cat guy, you know? I mean, you can't see him, you know,
Right.
anybody could say that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it can be quite funny. And my husband's referring to the state court administrative office where my husband works. They have a website that you can go to and you can watch court on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
So
Oh.
you can go to any court that's in session and click on it, on the link, and you'll be taken right to their Zoom hearings. So
Okay.
it's pretty interesting.
Mm,
Wow.
You
okay.
can go and watch anybody in the state, you know, if you
Wow.
know the judge and you know the county they're in, you know, you click on a map and you go to that county and then it brings up all the judges that are online.
And we can see who's working and who's
Right.
not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, Big Brother is watching.
Laura, did you realize that your background, your virtual screen is mirrored, reversed?
Is it reversed? Because to me, it looks like it's correct.
No, it's reversed for us.
Is it reversed?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to try to fix it then. Because it was reversed on my screen. And so I went and reversed it, the picture. And hi, Alva, welcome.
Hi, hello everyone.
Hello.
Hi, Stan and Jane.
Hello.
Fix my
Hello.
virtual background here. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna put the one that's reversed to me. Wait, that wasn't it, sorry. Different. I know it drives you crazy if you see that. It's supposed to be so that you can read it.
Mm.
Yep, right, right.
Okay, so let me add another image.
There it is.
That's right. That's correct, right?
Yep.
All right. You can see it. It's fine. Okay. Because to me, it's backward. It's weird. Okay. Well, good. Good, good. I'm glad you can all see that. And I see that John Musick is here. He's our speaker.
Bridget,
Yeah.
is your shamrock plant still kicking?
What?
Is your shamrock plant still alive?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I went and bought some potting soil today. I have to transplant it. It's huge.
Really?
It's huge and it's got a ton of flowers on it too.
Well, hi, John. Welcome. Thank you for coming. We usually spend the first several minutes
Ooh,
just
beautiful.
That's
talking. And
beautiful.
this
Yeah.
is John.
Oh, yeah, lots of flowers, John.
Yeah, and it needs water now too.
You could show her mine.
How old is that plant?
Well, I bought it at Bush's just before St. Patty's Day. And I got one for Bridget too, and we were both amazed how big they were, but it has,
Yes.
it's doubled in size, mine has.
Oh my goodness. That's
What did you put
fantastic.
in it, John?
I think he puts a little miracle grow.
Oh, okay.
Show her mine. Where's my purple one?
Well, I'm wondering where the rest of our club is. We usually have more people. Ah,
Oh, it's 7 o'clock already.
yeah, it's after 7 actually.
Yes.
It's
7:04.
5 after.
What was that, Bridget?
It's 5 after.
Yes, I know. Well, let's just we'll go ahead and start the meeting then. We'll say the pledge and we'll have a little bit of fellowship before we start with our speaker. So we will go ahead and I'll call the meeting to order. Welcome, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming. This is our evening meeting. We have one meeting a month that's in the evening. The rest of our meetings are at noon on Tuesdays. So we will begin then with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I do have a little flag. Hang on. Here we go. You see that? Okay. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right. Well, since last week, let's see. I did want to remind everybody to register for district conference. In fact, this background was sent to me by our district governor, and he wants all the presidents to use this background until the district conference, which is in May, and asking everybody to register if you have not already done so. So it's all virtual this year, so we won't have to leave our homes. Alva, it was scheduled to be at Mackinac Island, which is this beautiful island up in northern Michigan. But it would have been really nice. No cars are allowed on the island. So it's like stepping back in time.
Oh,
And it's a beautiful, it's just a beautiful place. It's very hard to describe. But that was where we were going to have our conference in person. And then with COVID, they made the decision, Rotary made the decision that they didn't want to have in-person large gatherings of that kind. So just a few weeks ago, they announced it was going to be virtual instead. So we're
Okay.
disappointed that it's not, at this beautiful place, but it is what it is, and we'll make the best of it as we have all year, since a year ago, basically.
yes. Mhm.
The governor's stay-at-home order and COVID, and so that was my first thing. And we did have a meeting last week. The board met to discuss concerts in the park, and it looks like we are going to be going forward at this point anyway, planning on having the concerts in August, not July, but August. And it'll be every Wednesday night in August. And of course, that's subject to change. We can't say for sure whether or not we're going to be able to go forward with it. But as of now, we are planning to move forward. So that was the sole topic of discussion. There's a lot to putting on this event. It's a great event. The city, people in the city love it. And surrounding areas, they come from all over to listen to the music. But there are big crowds. We do attract a lot of people.
Yes.
And our Rotary Club would sell beer and also lottery or tickets, 50-50 tickets. So that involves obviously interacting with people. And so, it's just kind of worrying to think about how we're going to keep people apart and things like that. But at least for now, we made the decision to go forward. So,
Okay.
yeah, so that was good. Let's see, before that, we had a board meeting, and we will be getting the minutes out to the members shortly. I haven't heard back from Trish or any of the rest of the board actually on the minutes. We had our Hope Not Handcuffs launch. The media launch was 2 weeks ago, and I haven't heard anything. I'm still waiting to hear if we can amend our grant to allow us to do some, to buy an iPad for the bin at the police station, and also to use the rest of the money that's in our grant to provide housing for people coming out of rehab facilities and into recovery housing. So I did submit the request about a week ago, I guess, and I haven't heard back yet. So we are waiting to hear that before we go forward and finish out that project, which would be buying supplies for the bin. We need to know what we can and can't do before we go ahead and spend the money. So I'm just waiting to hear back. And so that's kind of at a standstill at this point. let's see, as far as our upcoming programs, we do have, Alva's going to be speaking on April 6th. So she's going to talk about herself and her company, the Knowledge Network. And she provided me with some samples of the work that she does. And it's a very intriguing and interesting. And I find it, of course, interesting, you know, being a district court judge and presiding over probation and the kinds of things that we try to get people to do in probation, you know, things like life skills. And that seems to be what the Knowledge Network is good at. It looks like
Yes,
setting
it is.
goals and getting basic life skills. So, so I think it's it's something that's desperately needed in our society today.
Mhm.
And I think that you're providing a valuable service. So I'm interested to hear more about it.
Thank you.
And then next week we have Stan. Stan is going to talk about the Wayne Chamber of Commerce and all that they're doing this year. And also he and his wife, Judith, they have a photography business. And I mean, I've known Stan just, you know, from events and things like that, but I'd be interested to hear about how you started your business and how you came to be in Wayne and about your family and all of that. So
Okay.
looking forward to hearing you.
Mhm.
And then April 20th, we have Victoria Kennedy. We'll be talking about the company Saints Incorporated, which is now located in Wayne. And then, oh yes, also, I'm going to talk a bit about this restorative justice workshop that's going to be on April 14th. And I did send it out to everyone. But, you know, this is through Wayne State. Restorative justice, restorative practices, restorative approaches, and how to apply in our daily dialogue toward conflict resolution. And this is part of our District 6400's Peace and Conflict Resolution Initiative. And it's a coalition of the Monroe area, Coalition for Racial Equality, Equity, and Diversity, and the Wayne State University Center for Peace and Conflict Studies. So I think this is so timely and so important. So I am planning to attend that. I enjoyed the prior one that we went to that had Stephen Henderson and Nolan Finley talking about, you know, I forget what they call their program, but they travel around and talk about how, you know, they're both very different politically, and one's conservative, one's liberal, but they found a way to communicate with each other, and they shared that with the group, and it was really interesting and informative. So anyway, just keep that in mind. That's on April 14th. It's in the evening, 7:30 to 8:30. So I think that's I really am enjoying that aspect of what our district governor is doing this year. So I see Charlotte has joined us. Welcome, Charlotte.
Hi.
Okay, well, let's see. I guess we probably have everybody we're going to have, I think. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce John Musick and let him actually tell us about himself and what the South Sudanese project that he's in charge of and working on with the Grosse Pointe Rotary Club.
Well, thank you, Laura. I really appreciate the chance to speak with all of you. And yeah, I have long ties to University of Michigan, to many areas of Michigan. My wife is a pastor, and she served 3 different churches in Muskegon, Kalamazoo, and then finally in Rogers City for the last 5 years. So I have a deep affection for the state of Michigan, and I'm always glad to make any more connections. I wanted to just share with you a little bit about what we're doing with a really, in some ways, deeply afflicted group of people from South Sudan, who are also some of the most inspiring and determined and extraordinary people I've ever met in my life. It goes back to way back to 2008, when we first got to know some of the lost boys of South Sudan. Maybe there's been books written about them, and you might have heard about them. But they were children that were forced to flee on their own and ended up in refugee camps, first in Ethiopia and then finally in Kenya. And then we met these guys because when we were in Kalamazoo, they were in Grand Rapids and they came and visited our church. Got to know these guys, and shortly after that, they asked us to make a trip back to South Sudan with them to help figure out how churches could get involved to help people in their home village. We then started working in South Sudan, some very difficult situations. And in fact, a professor of nursing from U of M School of Nursing went with us, and I looked at the situation of how women were giving birth, and it was just appalling to see what was going on. Women giving birth literally on a dirt floor in a dirt hut. So she then brought a team of nurse midwives, and we started then. Our first project was to train nurse midwives or birth assistants to assist with birth situations, and we're able to help them really have much more healthy birth and early childhood situations. Shortly after that, unfortunately, civil war broke out in South Sudan. December of 2013, war broke out, and there were just horrendous atrocities committed, and people fled en masse, and entire villages, including the village where we had been working, fled to refugee camps in northern Uganda. And that's where we then followed them. And initially we were just helping them just cope with the aftermath, the trauma that they had suffered as a result of the war. But soon after that, they recovered very well again, very resilient people, amazing the way they came back. And then the biggest problem they had was lack of food, because the World Food Program was supposed to feed them, but so many refugee situations were emerging around the world that they very quickly ran out of the enough food for everybody, so they just kept cutting back and cutting back. So a little over a year ago, the Duluth, Minnesota, where I now currently live in Duluth, Minnesota, Duluth Club 25, Rotary Club 25, partnered with us on a project to help these folks rent land, because again, they're refugees, they have no land of their own. They are only restricted to their very small refugee camps. So they had to rent land, plant additional crops, and then actually go out and store the additional crops. I'm going to share the screen here of, let's see, oh yeah, here we go.
Oh, great.
This first picture is the leadership of the Gulu, Uganda Rotary Club. The young lady on the left is the immediate past president, who also was a very strong, is a licensed psychotherapist, who agreed to help us with the women as far as overcoming their trauma. I don't know, can you see the guy on the right? It's being covered up on my screen.
Yes, yes.
You can hit it, okay.
You could, if you could start the slideshow, if you could, the picture will be bigger.
I'm sorry?
Right now, we're seeing your PowerPoint.
Yeah.
File. Okay.
Right. But anyway, the guy on the right is the president, the current president. So he and their club there, along with the Duluth Club, partnered with us in this project to help them grow more grain for consumption. Now, so that seemed like, enough to do. But when I got there, we also discovered that there were very severe conflicts emerging between the Ugandans who live in the area, who are really desperate as well, and the refugees over just everything, everything you can imagine. But we started having lots of conflicts, and didn't happen in our camps, but in others, there actually were some killings. In fact, a nearby camp had 11 people killed because of conflicts with the Ugandans. So when I was there in February.
John, can I interrupt for a moment?
Sure.
Would you enter into slideshow mode so we can have a bigger picture for us to see on our computers?
Let me see.
It's on the top. It says home, insert, design, slideshow, and just push the slideshow.
Okay.
If you go to slideshow along the top, you should be able to, you're in file right now.
Right.
So-
I should go to slideshow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then say from the beginning or from current slide, which is the second from the,
Just click on slideshow, John.
yeah.
Yeah, I did
Well, he did it,
that.
but now he's got to click on either from the beginning or from current slide. So yeah, just keep going back and then you'll get to from current slide. There you go. That one. Click on that. There.
Oh.
Okay. Now, yeah.
Thank you.
That's better. Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't know how to do that. Okay, wonderful. Okay, well, there's yeah.
Yep.
Oh, now this is the second slide. So what we did when I was there is we brought Ugandan and South Sudanese women together to start to talk about what they share as well as what their conflicts were, and try to figure out ways to get along better. And I was thinking about Laura's description of the restorative justice conferences. This is the same idea of finding ways to bring people together in conflict situations and work out a solution. So that's what we did. This is after the end of the session, we had kind of a graduation. They're lining up, showing their certificates. Everybody was very proud of doing that. Some more slides of that. But as a result of the both the growing the additional crops and the peace building, they were able then to get out into the fields and plant these crops. Here they are working there. Later in the growing season, the women are working in the fields. Some of the youth working as well. So you get a sense it was a very much a community effort. Everybody pitched in, from young kids all the way up to adults, and everybody who physically could do it was part of it. Now we also, I think I also have a slide here of the, and then they also built a storage building so that when the crops were harvested, they could be stored for later consumption. And by the way, whenever any excess crops they have that aren't being eaten along the way are always saved and then apportioned according to a priority system, which starts with pregnant women and lactating women, and then goes down elderly, sick, and orphans. So this is their way as a community of deciding how to use the crops or the food that they have. Okay. Now, along the way, we also started to realize that these camps were made up, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute here. These camps were made up about 80% women. The men, so many of them had been killed in the war. Others had, gone off other places trying to find work. For whatever reason, most of the men were not present. So 80% of the people in these two camps are women and children. And so we knew that the women who had traditionally not been allowed to have any meaningful leadership role whatsoever, women who had never seen the inside of a school, women who had never learned one word of English, which is the national language in Uganda and in South Sudan. They spoke only their tribal language. So they had so many handicaps as far as providing leadership. And yet, with 80%, they had to become leaders. They had to take over. They had to plan. They had always done the manual labor. They'd done the farming. They knew what work was, but they had never been in leadership positions. So we then started working. Let's see here. We then started working with them. Oh, no, I'm back to that whole thing again. Well, let's see. I want to get you down to, yeah, I want this one, but I'm going to slideshow and from current slide. There we are. So these are three of the young women who, really are starting to take over positions of leadership and doing an incredible job. This young lady here is Ugandan, and these two are South Sudanese. So they're coming together across national lines to, work together. Here's another shot of the training sessions that we did. This woman, these two women, but this one in particular, Mary on the right, is just an extraordinary person. Again, she's, I don't know, probably in her 50s, has never had any real education, but has taught herself somehow to speak English. She has taken over leadership in her community and is just one of the most extraordinary people I've ever met in my life. This is actually a colleague of hers. The two of them are just an inseparable pair. And then this, on the other hand, is one of the very young women. I don't know her age, but she's about 18. She's had a little bit of schooling because she's been going to school in Uganda, but very lots of barriers she's had to overcome as well. Okay, so I just want to say now the conclusion of our project is that now we are doing two more things. One is to help them purchase grain mills, because of course the grain they grow has to be ground. Up till now, they've had to purchase that service from nearby vendors. So they want to be able to do it on their own and set up a small business, a cooperative business that will allow them to not only provide the service at a lower cost, but then also reap some profits that can be plowed back into the project. And the Rotary in St. Joseph, Michigan, is now working very hard to raise the money for that. In addition, then the Grosse Pointe Rotary that I think initially contacted you is also working to has a project that includes more further food production, peace building, women's empowerment, and then setting up a variety of cooperative businesses, grain milling being one of them, but also including soap making, hair salons, and other cooperative ventures. Food, animal raising, especially chickens and goats, so that they're going to be able to expand their food production and expand their businesses. So that's essentially what we are trying to do right now, raise the funds to do these additional projects, as well as get these grain mills operating. So let's see, I guess that was about 15 minutes. So I guess I'll stop at this point and see if there's any questions.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
Is the Civil War still going on?
What was-
Is the Civil War still going on?
Yes, unfortunately it is. I'm so glad you asked that. Yes. In fact, we go back and forth trying to figure out, should people go back, or are they going to be able to go back? And right now, it just does not look good at all. It's a tragic story. But the ambition is still that they would go back, but there's no timeline for it, I'm afraid.
Was Somalia part of Ethiopia at one time?
I don't know that. It could be.
No.
That could be. Yeah.
No, this is South Sudan and Uganda,
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
not Somalia.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, well, Somalia is another, but we're talking South Sudan and Uganda. Yeah.
right.
I do have a question. If we did help, would we, I mean, we were giving some help to a club in Honduras for a while. And I mean, how does that work actually? We give the funds to, would it be your organization? Would it be the Rotary Club in Uganda? Or how would that work?
The initial donation would be made to the Grosse Pointe Rotary Foundation. They then, well, they're going to try to get it matched, but whatever funds they do raise, we would transfer them to. We have 3 staff there that we support. They would be in charge, and they are the ones that very successfully did the project with the Duluth Club last year and met all the financial requirements, and we're very accountable for the money.
So you're looking to get a global matching grant.
That's the
Okay. John Lewis?
Well, my question was whether or not the Sudanese women were going to be permanent residents then of Uganda, and it sounds like that's likely. Is that true?
That's an excellent question. And that's something we struggle with all the time, because historically that has happened. There have been previous civil wars and people have fled to other countries as many as 20, 25, 30 years ago, and they're still refugees.
Mhm.
So is that going to happen again? Are they just going to sort of assimilate into Ugandan society, or are they going to go back? It's probably going to be some of each, but nobody really knows. It's really heartbreaking to meet someone who says, "Oh yeah, I'm a refugee. I left South Sudan 25 years ago, and here I am still in Uganda." I don't know.
The project is a joint project though between the South Sudanese and Uganda peoples, right? They're both working on the food production. And are there schools there for the children also?
Yes, there are. There are. Right now, unfortunately, they're closed because of COVID. But like that one young lady, I showed her picture at the very end. She's been going to Ugandan school. So she's been in school now for, I think she came in 14. So what, 6, 7 years? She never saw school in South Sudan, but in Uganda she is. So in many ways, people are doing better in Uganda than they did.
We have an Interact club at our local high school. would there be anything that the Interact Club could do, to help the kids, the refugee kids?
Yeah, well, part of it depends. In the past, I would have said, oh yeah, we're going to be making a trip. And if they wanted to, like footballs or what we call soccer balls, I mean, if you saw what they use for soccer balls, it's a piece of rags wrapped together, and that's their soccer ball. So even just something like that, But the problem is, I don't know. We want to go. We have a trip planned for January of 22. But having that kind of athletic equipment is, children would just love anything like that. I mean, almost anything that kids here like to do, kids there like to do as well. So the other thing is, just making a video of anything that you're doing, whether it's sports or drama or classroom, a 5-minute video of what kids in the United States do, and sending that over. They do, everybody's got phones and smartphones and stuff, so they can play those. So if there was a group of kids there in Wayne that wanted to, exchange videos back and forth, the kids would absolutely love something like that.
Oh, that's great.
The videos.
Would we send that video to you, John?
Sure.
Okay,
Okay, so you have a direct line of communication.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we talk to them at least once a week, often 2 or 3 times a week.
And how much money are you looking to raise?
Well, the goal that Grosse Pointe has set is $15,000. So they're trying to see what anybody can do, and they'll take anything. They've had pledges for 300 or 400, and they've had pledges for 2,000. But
Okay, well, that's helpful to know.
I wanted to ask, is the housing for the refugee people in any way looks like it may end up becoming permanent, as long as they're staying, for such a lengthy amount of time?
the problem is the land, the housing. These are called tukels. They're basically mud walls and then a thatched roof, and they are relatively easy to make. Problem is where to put them, and that's the big problem, because if you take land away from the Ugandans, obviously you're going to have problems. So finding a way that they could get land, and right now, like I said, they're in a very constricted refugee settlement. So that's something that's being worked on all the time. Where could they have a more permanent, what you'd call a town, as opposed to just a settlement? But it's a big issue.
How many refugees?
So,
Go ahead, Shar.
so the 3 people that you employ to help with the coordination of the project, is that their total employment, or is that just your specific coordinators?
That's their employment. And by the way, they're all 3 refugees themselves.
Yeah.
One of them, well, 2 of them we knew back in South Sudan, and when we first set up that maternal and child health project, they helped us coordinate that. The third one is a pastor who had fled to Uganda previously, before the war, to get a better education for his children, and then ended up as a refugee once the war broke out.
So are they?
I guess she froze.
Yes, we couldn't hear you, Shar. You froze up.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Say it again.
Okay. I forgot. Oh, are these people Rotarians or are they just your coordinators?
They're just our coordinators. The Rotarians, where they are in a bigger town called Gulu. They're about 45 minutes away.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, Laura, sorry.
That's okay. I was going to ask, how many refugees are you dealing with?
15,000. There's 2 settlements. One has 10,000, the other has 5.
Oh, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Wow. That's very hard. It's wonderful what you're doing. I mean, what a tough undertaking though, and courageous and humanitarian.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question. What about the medical needs? Are there medical facilities, hospitals, for the refugees?
Excellent question. There's a medical facility in each of the 2 settlements where we work, and it's staffed by an organization, and it's not Doctors Without Borders, but it's a very similar organization. The name is escaping me this second, but anyway, it's an international volunteer organization, and they are wonderful people. They work extremely hard, very dedicated, but their resources are so limited. For instance, by law in Uganda, you must give birth in a health center. However, when you get to the health center, there are absolutely no supplies whatsoever. I mean, not even a pair of gloves, not a mat, nothing. And so if you don't come with your own pack or your bag of birth supplies, they send you home. So that's, or like right now, because of flooding there, they've had a terrible outbreak of typhoid. Can you imagine? So they got malaria, typhoid, and COVID all at once. So you'd think that maybe at least they could do testing of the water wells to see which ones are infected with typhoid. They can't do it. You'd think that they might be able to test to see if somebody has COVID. Well, kind of, sort of, but they've waited as long as a month to get the results and never got anything. So it's that kind of situation. Wonderful people, do what they can, but the restrictions are so enormous.
Wow. Wow, it really is heartbreaking.
Yeah, and yet, you'd think when you hear all of this, you think, oh my God, these people must be so depressed. They must be so ready to give up, and they're not. I mean, they are exuberant. They are exciting. Every time I talk to them, they got new ideas. Hey, what about this? Hey, let's do this. It's just, I can't explain it. They're just the most amazing people I've ever seen. People that when we first met them, literally couldn't lift their head. They were so traumatized. They would not even look at you. And, within a week of us being there, they started talking and, telling their stories. And so it is amazing. It is a spiritual uplift just to be there.
And John, you mentioned that you live in Minnesota. Is that where you are now?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So the wonders of technology, Zoom.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to be with you if it wasn't for that, So
that's right. I was hoping Dino would come. He mentioned that he would.
Oh.
From the Grosse Pointe Club.
Oh yeah.
Find out more about how they're helping you. But I mean, what a fantastically worthy cause, and just kudos to your organization for all that you do.
Thank you. Love to partner with you any way we can. We sure love to do it.
Well, we'd have to meet with our board and all of that. Vivian,
I was wondering, have you ever did a thing called Operation Christmas Card? Or like the people buy gifts and then send Christmas gifts over to these kids? So they had something, because I was a member of the Methodist Church here in Wayne. And they used to do that. We did that every year. We'd go out and buy little things, bandages, toothbrushes, toothpaste, then we wrap it up in a Christmas box. And then we would take it to a place in Fowlerville, Michigan, up by Lansing. And then they'd send it off to these kids in these countries.
We haven't done that mostly because transportation is so expensive, so difficult, that your transportation would probably be 3 times the cost of whatever it is that you're sending. So pretty much about the only way we can do that is either, again, when we make a trip, we carry everything we possibly can jam into suitcases, or we send them the money and then, you know, they buy it there. But yeah, I mean, I once tried to look at just a 1-by-1 box weighing 5 pounds. It was $500 to send that box.
oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you aren't even sure it's going to get there. You know, it's just.
True.
Wow.
Have they ever did like a pen pal?
Oh, sure.
If
That
they could have a pen pal? I would love to do that, like
love to do
a
that.
pen pal with the little young girl.
Sure. You know, that, because everybody's got email and whatever else way you want to. I mean, I'm not up on all the different technology, but yeah, that would be very welcome. Yes.
How do you get there?
What, Milt?
How do you get there? Where do you fly into?
Kampala, Uganda. So you can fly from Amsterdam to Kampala nonstop.
Okay, well, anybody else have any questions? It's fascinating that we can be here in Michigan and talk to Minnesota and feel like we're in Uganda, you know?
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah,
incredible.
I consider everybody in Michigan my friend because I just had such a wonderful, I was there for 25 years and love the state. Always love to go back.
Are you from Michigan or are you just lived
No,
here?
born and raised in Milwaukee, but spent many years in Michigan, both as a student and also then doing work.
Oh, and what was the kind of work that you did when you were in Michigan?
Community organizing.
Oh, okay.
Same thing I'm doing now. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Oh, well, it sounds like you found a good position doing what you're doing.
Yeah, so now I'm retired, so now I can kind of do it the way I want to do. I don't have any restrictions either, you know. So.
Yes, retirement is great. I can attest to that. So, okay, well, if there are no more questions, yes, Judith.
I find that very interesting. And our daughter just got back from Gambia. She's been back now 3 weeks. And she's been looking for, you know, a country that she can go to and do something there. And possibly maybe some kind of way she could, you know, get involved. She is going back. She was gone for 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And she really enjoyed it. And now she's thinking she might even live there, her and her husband. Wow. So maybe some kind of way that she could get involved in something, you know, that could help the people there also.
We'd love to have a further conversation if you'd like to email me or something, or we could set up a Zoom call or something. Or,
that sounds good. Yeah.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
She's in psychology, you know, that was her master's degree was in psychology, but she
that's
just wanted to
wonderful.
do something different, you know, get out. And this sounds very interesting.
What was her trip like? I mean, was COVID a problem or anything? And
No, she didn't have any problem at all.
Mhm.
And she didn't, all they wanted her to do, make sure she didn't have COVID.
right.
you know.
She didn't
And
have to
but
quarantine her.
she didn't have to have the test other, I mean, she just had the test, but she didn't have to go and get the shot. She didn't have to
Okay.
first.
Mhm.
And they did well. They didn't have any problems and they just
Right.
loved it. They really did.
Right.
Oh, that's good to know.
Mhm. There was really no lockdown there. Nobody wore masks.
Really?
So they had no problem.
Wow.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. But yes, so we would love to get your information.
Yeah, Laura, can you pass my contact to them?
Yes. Yes. His email was on the general email I sent out, but I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll send it to you separately so that you.
Okay.
Love
thank you.
love to be in touch with her, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you.
And if any of us wanted to contribute individually, I'm sure we could just contact you and or.
Actually, you should go through Grosse Pointe Rotary and Dino.
Okay.
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 Beautiful. Very
All right.
interesting.
Well, thank you so much for that presentation.
Okay,
And
thank you.
very nice meeting you.
Same here.
And the
Thank
best
you,
of
John.
luck to you and
I
God.
have I have more Michigan friends now. Hey, that's great.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's it for our meeting, unless anybody has anything else. We can adjourn early.
I have a question for Alva.
Yes.
Hi, Alva.
Hi.
I just wanted to know if you have started to receive the Rotarian magazine.
No,
No.
no.
You've been added to the membership lists and everything.
Well, yeah, Rotary International in Chicago has her on the books. I'm just wondering if we have the correct address. But, okay, I'll communicate with you, Alva, as soon as I check to make sure I have an address that you can confirm.
Okay.
Should be
Okay.
good.
And I
Yes.
forgot to mention the book that we donate in honor of our speaker. So Milt came all the way out of his office to tell me that I forgot the book, but our speaker is gone. So if we were fining, we did away with fining during the pandemic, but I would fine myself $1 for that. So I will have to send him an email and tell him that we will donate a book in his honor to the Wayne Public Library. So,
It is nice.
okay, well, this was nice. Thank you all for coming. And if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and adjourn.
Four-way test
The
with
four-ways test of the things we think, say, and do. John, do you want to lead us in the four-way test?
one. Is
Is
it?
it the truth?
Is that the truth?
Second,
Fair,
is
Is
it
it
just?
fair?
all concerned,
Third,
Third, will it build goodwill and better
Well,
better
friendship?
friendships, will it be beneficial for all
For
concerned?
all concerned.
third, five, will it be?
Will it be
Is
fun?
it fun?
Will it be fun? Yay.
Great.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming. And
Great
we'll
seeing
see
everyone.
you.
Great seeing
Yeah.
everyone.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.
everyone.
Bye. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Have a good